Hello and welcome to Getaway Day. This is episode 100, and my name is Gautam. His name is Mason, and we are celebrating today. Opening week. Wake up! It's opening week, and it's our 100th episode. So we've got a special episode in store for you. We're gonna get into some WBC stuff. We're gonna kind of preview the season as a whole, and then we're gonna get into a little talking about the journey of the last 2 years and how we've grown and how this podcast has kind of grown and sustained over the last 2 years, and take some questions from our Twitch stream chat here, and it'll be a fun time.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Mason?
I'm very confused for so many reasons. So if you're here in the Twitch chat, which, by the way, if you're listening to this recorded, we are going to be doing this interactive tonight. So you're going to hear some some people's names from Twitch. Awesome. This is going to be the first time you guys get a true shout out here. But yeah, if you've been watching on Twitch tonight, you know that we're about, let's say 15 minutes behind, and you can definitely blame me. Because for some reason my brain seems to think that it is 7:45 right now, and I just woke up about 15 minutes ago when Gautam called me. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I guess right off the bat, I think we need to say a big thank you to all our listeners for the last 2 years. Whether this is your first time listening to Getaway Day or you've been a fan since day one, we really appreciate your support, both of us, and look forward to continuing on to create more episodes and create more content. We really enjoy it, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I will say, for the people on Twitch here, I do have a hat change redemption that we usually do. It just got redeemed by our good friend CVAC96. CVAC, I do not have a Yankees hat, and some of my hats are in the other room. So right now you can choose between the White Sox, the Dodgers, the Cedar Rapids Colonels, the Angels, Brewers, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Mariners. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and get that hat change honored. We are going with the Seattle Mariners tonight for our opening day episode.
All right, yeah. So let's get into it and talk about the WBC, because we've been doing division previews for the last 6 weeks, and we kind of didn't talk about the WBC at all on this podcast, despite how much we enjoyed it. And now we get a chance to talk about it. I think we should start at the very end of the WBC. So on Wednesday, I woke up and I wondered if I had dreamed that Mike Trout faced Shohei Ohtani in an actual at bat. And then I remembered, no, that actually happened. And that was how the WBC actually ended, with Shohei Ohtani closing out a game, first time pitching out of relief since 2016 in the game, striking out Mike Trout on the most nasty slider after blowing like 100-mile-per-hour fastballs by Mike Trout. That was just so cool. That was legitimately one of the coolest at-bats I think I've ever seen in my life.
It was one of the most anticipated at-bats of your life as well. Like,
and for it to happen under the circumstances it did, with the championship on the line, Mike Trout is the tying run in that game that Japan ended up winning 3-2 to win WBC this year. Just the stakes couldn't have been higher. And we actually got to see that at bat come to fruition. It wasn't just like, oh, this could happen in the ninth inning. The chances of that actually happening were pretty low, yet it actually came through like that, which was sweet.
Yeah. And then the other thing that this is, I don't want to say it's maybe an undervalued, what do you call it? An undervalued aspect of that at bat is This is two guys who have never been in the playoff. Mike Trout's been in the playoffs one time. They got swept out of the playoffs in the division series. This is the first time that he has played in competitive, like, essentially tournament style baseball in his major league career. Same with Shohei. They both play for the Angels, and this is the first time that they've got a taste of this. And now that they both got that in the WBC, they've both been quoted as saying that they want this again. Like the next WBC is for 3 years, but this is not. They're not going to be waiting 3 years to get a taste of this again. Trout and Ohtani are both adamant to get to this type of baseball again. And this Angels team, well, it's time for them to put up or shut up. So,
and it's been like that for years now, but this feels like maybe the best chance that they've had.
And Ohtani becomes a free agent after this year. Mike Trout wants to keep Ohtani. He's been quoted as saying he will do whatever it takes to keep Shohei in Anaheim. Well, yeah. And it feels like they're going to need to make the postseason in order for that to happen, and not just make it and make a run.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, getting back to WBC, just overall awesome event. I like the changes that they made from the last WBC, where kind of the elimination stages after the group stage just became single elimination and kind of added to the drama. And then this year, the rosters were just stacked. Many countries had major league players up and down their lineups, including Venezuela, Dominican Republic. Cuba had major league players this year. The U.S. lineup was ridiculous.
And the Japan Netherlands and Korea was stacked.
Netherlands, yeah. So all these guys bringing their best, basically. The only group not represented was like good American pitchers who didn't want to disturb their spring training routines. But with the way it played out, it almost feels like in 2026, we're going to see some of the best pitchers trying harder to show up and compete in this tournament, because it was just so cool.
Yeah. And so thinking about the 2017 WBC, the first one that the U.S. actually won, that kind of felt like a turning point for the U.S. and fielding a team, because before that, it was like, this has been a tournament for, this was the fifth one. We skipped 2020 because of the pandemic. So, what is that? 18 years? So for 18 years, this tournament has existed. We just started getting like the premier American players to play in it. And now we're seeing the elite hitters: Mike Trout, Nolan Arenado, Will Smith, Mookie Betts.
The entire lineup was like all-star stud players.
Yeah, the list goes on. This is guys that are future Hall of Famers that are on this team. Trey Turner, Paul Goldschmidt. Like, I'm people are going to be upset with me for the names that I don't say because of how good that team is.
Yeah, Bobby Witt was a pinch runner on this team. He couldn't even play, really.
Yeah. And so you see how much fun these guys had, and the pitchers are kind of feeling left out at this point, because like you hear Trout say this is the best baseball experience he's ever had. It was a playoff environment that he's never got to experience before, playing against guys that he'll never play against again, representing his entire country instead of just the city of Anaheim. So it's a completely different experience, and I think it's one that pitchers didn't realize they were missing for this year. So,
yep. And beyond America, this was just absolutely huge in other countries too, specifically Asia. There was a game between Japan and I believe Italy in the quarterfinal round, where 48% of Japanese households were tuned into that. That's more than American people watch the Super Bowl. It's like, this is the premier event, basically. And it's just such an important part of culture. And we don't really have that with baseball in America at this point. But I do feel like we're moving in the right direction, because this was a great event that showcased a lot of players that, people don't know from other countries and everything. But uh, yeah, I'm just really happy that this happened. It's the best thing that could have happened for baseball as a sport.
And to add to that, even the teams that you wouldn't expect came out and showed up and showed how much they do actually like the sport of baseball. Like Czech Republic, not a country that anybody would think plays baseball or loves baseball or whatever. They got a team in the World Baseball Classic. They had to go through the qualifying tournament, and they made it with basically an entire team of a handful of former minor leaguers, but predominantly it was just people from Czech Republic that just love playing baseball. They play for free over in Czech Republic. There's no professional leagues. They just play basically intramural baseball. And they actually got a win in this tournament, meaning that they're going to be invited back next year or next time in 2026. That's huge. Like seeing these teams win games in countries that's not their primary sport. Their primary sport is either basketball or soccer or whatever. That's really good for the game of baseball. So.
Yeah. And then, just getting back to the players that it highlighted, we get to see the stars of other pro leagues too, not just MLB players. We saw Masataka Yoshida, who is going to be playing in MLB, completely show out in this tournament. He went like 9 for 19 with a home run, played great. And there were so many questions about whether he could translate his skills to MLB. And this shows me, like, we just don't know because we haven't watched him play. And we got to see him and got to see Korean superstars, other Japanese guys. It was just, that was really another cool aspect of this for me.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm going to interrupt. 100th episode extravaganza, the amazing Allie. Thank you for the raid. Corey MLB, thank you very much for the sub. We really, really appreciate it, you guys. We'll get to the Q&A here in a little bit. We just want to talk a little bit about the WBC and a couple other things, and then we'll get to that. So thank you very, very much, and we hope you enjoy it. But yeah, and with the WBC, it's really cool, some of the other things that are going along with it even now, because like MLB The Show just dropped last week for early access. I think today is the first day that most people can play the game. And there is a World Baseball Classic program in it where you can earn like, what is it? Like 40 or 50 different players from the WBC. Some of them are these like international players that you wouldn't have heard about before unless you watched it. Roki Sasaki, Kensuke Kondo. It's a fantastic list of players from across the tournament there. And so definitely worth going to play that. But I just really, really love the integration of this tournament into basically more of the everyday things that we do as baseball fans in the US, to allow us to see those players from the NPB, from the KBO, from the Mexican baseball leagues, and things like that. So I think it's just really cool that we're actually not only growing our game outside the US, but we're actually getting a look at what already exists outside the US. So
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts on WBC before we move on to MLB season?
So many, but it could be an hour of just talking about that. So
yeah, for sure. So we are gonna do some bold predictions for the 2023 season, because what other time to do it than 2 days before the season? So do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Here. So I got 2 bold predictions. My first bold prediction is kind of player specific. It's got a couple parts to it. So basically, it's that Jazz Chisholm is going to hit 30 home runs, and steal 50 bases. So the reason I make this bold prediction is because Jazz Chisholm is awesome. He kind of had his breakout last year in some ways. In 60 games, he hit 14 homers and stole 12 bases. Had a 139 WRC plus. The issue was he only played 60 games last season because of injuries, and that's why predicting 30-50 is such a big deal, because that assumes that he's going to stay healthy for the majority of the season. He's going to play, 140 plus games. At the rate he was hitting home runs and stealing bases last year, the 30-50 is not insane, but the 50 stolen bases is sort of in there because of the rule changes, and the bigger bases mean that more guys are probably going to be running. And a guy like Chisholm, who already loved to run, he loves stealing bases. I think he's going to be going pretty much every time he's reaching first base, and he's going to be very successful because he's super fast. And the last part of it is, we've talked a little bit about the Marlins and what they've done this offseason. They clearly had a plan to add more contact hitters to their lineup. And they did that by bringing in guys like Gene Segura, Yuli Gurriel, Luis Arias. So I think they're going to try to play a little bit more station to station with base running, maybe hit and runs. This team doesn't have a whole lot of power. Jazz is one guy that does have power. And I think they're going to try to manufacture runs by base hits, getting their guys into scoring position with stolen bases, things like that. So Jazz Chisholm 30-50, bold prediction. Let's go.
I like that prediction a lot. It's going to be, it's bold for sure. 30 home runs is the one that actually stands out to me as being maybe the tougher of the two. I think Jazz can get the 50, and to be honest, I'm not sure it'll even be all that hard. He just feels like one of those guys that if he decides he wants to do it, he's going to be able to do that. My first bold prediction is also more player oriented, and it is actually a guy who is not debuted in the major leagues yet. There's a couple here that it could be. Which one do you think I'm going with? Which player?
Jordan Walker.
Not even close.
What?
We are going with Andrew Painter.
Okay.
So
guy's hurt.
He is hurt, but I kind of think that Andrew Painter might outperform 2022 Spencer Strider.
That is very bold.
Yes, it is. That's what we're here for, right? So
yeah.
2022 Spencer Strider, 131 innings pitched across 20 starts, struck out 38% of batters to 2.67 ERA, a 183 FIP, and put up 4.9 WAR with a total of 202 strikeouts. Those are big numbers, especially for a rookie. Spencer Strider did it, and I don't think anyone expected him to do that. And he was 23 at the time. Now we go look at Andrew Painter, a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, who has pitched, a total of 17, 22, 26 games in the minors. And I'm sitting here predicting that he's going to outperform Spencer Strider. I'm crazy, right?
Yeah, well, crazy.
This is a guy with a fastball that is on par with Spencer Strider. This is a guy with a slider that is so much better than Spencer Strider, a curveball that's better than Spencer Strider, and command that is better than Spencer Strider, according to every scout known to man. This is a phenom that we're getting ready to see. The hype around Andrew Painter is similar to the hype that we saw around Steven Strasburg when he debuted. That's the level of talent that we're talking with Andrew Painter. And if Spencer Strider could go out and do that in 2022 for the NL East champions, right?
No.
The Braves didn't win?
Wait. Oh, you're talking about the Braves. I thought you were talking about the Phillies. Sorry.
No, Spencer Strider.
Yeah, the Braves won.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, what are you talking about? Yeah, but if Spencer Strider can go out and do that for the NL East champion Braves, why can't Andrew Painter do it as a 19-year-old with the Phillies? I think it's going to happen. I think he's going to put up 5 WAR.
Okay, that'd be amazing if that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
A 19-year-old in the big leagues. And I guess what's important about that is Strider started the year in the bullpen actually last year, and he worked his way into the rotation sometime, I think, in May. And it's not like he threw 175 innings or anything. He threw 130 innings. So with Painter being out for the beginning of the year, maybe he slots into that rotation like sometime mid-season and goes from there. That would be amazing. And that's extremely bold. That makes my 30-50 for Jazz look like it's run of the mill.
Yeah, but I mean, we're here to go big. This is opening day week.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I got one more bold prediction. It's more like team focused. It's about the Twins, and specifically their starting pitching. So I think the Twins have been like, they've kind of had middling starting pitching the last few years, and that's kind of been something that's held them back a little bit, especially in 2019 when they had a great offense, but they didn't necessarily have the pitching to back it up. This year, they added Pablo Lopez. They have like guys that have now been there for at least a year, and Sonny Gray, Tyler Mahle, Joe Ryan, and then Kenta Maeda is coming back from his injury. So I think like by projections, this is kind of like a middle of the pack rotation. But I think they're going to really overperform. I think they're going to be a top 10 starting pitching staff in the major leagues because Pablo Lopez is actually playing for a good team now. He is going to get some run support from this club, not like with the Marlins. If he can put together basically like the season he put together last year, that's going to be a huge help for them. Sonny Gray is actually in shape coming into this year. Apparently, he started throwing like when the lockout was lifted. He had done like nothing up to that point, so he was not ready when he got traded, and then he was like thrown into a new situation, arm not ready. He got injured. That's happened a lot in his career. I think this year he's looking really good in spring. Same thing with Tyler Mahle. It seems like his shoulder issue is behind him for the time being. And then Joe Ryan had an awesome rookie campaign. I think he's just going to build off that, and he's added a sweeper to his arsenal, which seems to be the latest craze around baseball, and it's worked for a lot of pitchers. So I can see Joe Ryan just having an even better season than the one he already had. And then Kenta Maeda is kind of a wild card. He's coming off Tommy John, but he's been a really good pitcher in the past. So if he can get his command back, that's an awesome 1 through 5 if they can all kind of reach the top levels of their projections. And that's really going to propel the Twins to winning the division, which is definitely bold because I would say that the Guardians and the White Sox are usually the teams that people pick to be ahead of Minnesota.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide how bold I want to go with my next one. I mean, I already went Painter's going to be better than Strider. Should I go bigger than that?
They can't be so outlandish that there's like a 0.1% chance of them happening. I feel like I could give you 100 of those.
Okay, so me saying that the Astros are going to finish in third is probably out.
I mean, if you got the backing for it, go for it.
So, okay, I'm going to go with the Astros are going to finish in third place. And the reason is basically everything that we talked about in the AL West preview here the other day. We've seen such big steps forward by other teams in this American League West this year. We saw the Mariners go out, and yeah, I see CVAC there in the chat, really confused as to what I'm saying. Give me a minute. Let me convince you. We've seen this Mariners club go out and improve themselves yet again. They moved on from Jesse Winker, who really did not work out for them last year. They went out and got Teoscar Hernandez to man left field, right field. I don't remember. One of the two. They went and got Colton Wong to upgrade second base. They extended Luis Castillo. They went out and made a whole bunch of different moves to either take the team they've got now and make sure that it's going to last more than one more year, and then improve it outside of that. And so I don't think it's crazy at all to say that they have a chance to win the division. So the crazy part here is that I think the Texas Rangers have a shot at taking second. It's not a great shot, but it could happen. Because you look at this team, and from last year to this year, they went out and completely rebuilt their pitching staff, or their rotation at least. And this rotation, if it stays healthy, could be one of the best in the league. Behind DeGrom, you still have John Gray, Nathan
Eovaldi,
yes.
Andrew Heaney.
Eovaldi, Heaney. You still have Martin Perez. Like, that could be a really, really, really good rotation if those guys all stay healthy. That is a big if. They do also have depth in their rotation. This is also a team that offensively could see steps forward from prospect Josh Young, who was hurt quite a bit last year. Jonah Heim and Sam Huff at catcher. Like, Sam Huff has prodigious power. Like, Joey Gallo levels of power as a catcher. And then we saw basically a career year from Nathaniel Lowe last year as well. So if we see that, the production we've got from Adolis Garcia the last couple of years, some big steps forward from the rotation. Jose Leclerc actually lead that bullpen, and that bullpen not fall apart completely. This is a team that could actually win quite a few games. Then on the other side, you've got the Angels, who have taken some big steps forward. And they've addressed their starting pitching a little bit here this year, getting Tyler Anderson. They've still got Jose Suarez and Reed Detmers and Patrick Sandoval, who looks prime for a breakout this year. Shohei Ohtani. You get Hunter Renfroe in there to play in the outfield. You start addressing the infield a little bit with some names that actually don't seem like liabilities. And so I could see the Angels or the Rangers legitimately making a run at second place in this division. And if they get second and the Mariners get first, well, where does that put the Astros? Third place. There is a world in which the 2023 Houston Astros are in third place coming off their World Series win.
Yeah, and I guess the bet you're making there is that there's three legit contenders in the division other than the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
So the chances of two of them being better is maybe better. I don't know.
This is the best chance that this has had to happen.
Yeah, and
in a long time.
Maybe just talk about the Astros here for a quick second. They're missing Jose Altuve for the beginning of this season. He's going to be out with the thumb injury. This is not like the same Astros team that just won the World Series. They're quite a bit different in a few ways. Like, they're missing their ace, Justin Verlander. They're missing Altuve, one of their best hitters. Their bench is filled out by two guys I had literally not heard of until today, and that's pretty rare for me. Cesar Salazar is their backup catcher, and outfielder, infielder named Corey Julks made their bench. So maybe they're not as deep as they've been in years past. Your outfielders are still Chas McCormick and Jake Myers. These aren't like amazing superstar players. So they potentially have some weaknesses, and maybe if they get off to a slow start, it's going to be hard for them to recover if two of the other teams in the division start really hot and they kind of get out to a lead in the division.
And don't take anything that we're saying here as saying the Astros suck, because that is not the case.
Definitely not.
That is not the case at all. This is still a very, very talented team. I just think some of these other teams have actually put themselves in a position where they could take a run at the champs. So,
for sure.
So have I convinced you that wasn't too outlandish of a
It's really bold, but
Yeah.
I liked all your reasoning. It sounds good. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
So bold predictions. I guess do you have any other like thoughts you have on the 2023 season you want to get out there?
I don't know. Like, this is a really intriguing season to me. We've got a lot of things that are changing, and we've talked about it with the pitch clock, with um the different bases, the limiting of the shifts, the um it seems like maybe we're starting to see a little bit of a change in um how teams are thinking about using their top prospects earlier in the season. Like, after last year, we saw Bobby Witt and Julio come up on the opening day rosters. Now we've got a couple different guys who are kind of the same level of prospects for their teams that are cracking the opening day rosters, and Anthony Volpe and Jordan Walker in Oscar Colas. So it seems like we're seeing a lot of things changing for the better in baseball. I think coming right off the WBC and having this um, larger kind of spotlight on the sport, I think we're going to see a lot of changes, and I think it's going to be for the good. I mean, you and I were watching all the commercials that they were putting out about the rule changes, and they're trying to reach that audience of more common baseball fans than, say, you and me, and try and explain that we're not just resting on our laurels this year, just hoping that people start watching. We're actually starting to change some stuff, and
Yeah,
we
I think
think
that's
it's going to make a
absolutely
move.
that's a great point because I had this thought. I don't know if I was talking to you about this, but I was like, who are these, common baseball fans, like casual fans? I know a bunch of hardcore fans like me and you, and I know people that say they don't like baseball. I
Yeah.
don't see those people in the middle, and to reach those people like that, I think that makes a difference. They probably exist. I just don't. I don't know them.
Yeah. I mean, we're from small enough towns that it's like you don't really have the full gamut of opinions on things. You kind of have extremes. That's about it. But there's definitely that group of casual fans that exist. The people that like going to baseball games when they're in the stadium, but they don't like watching on TV because the game's too long. Like, they definitely exist. And I think that we're finally doing some stuff to reach out to them. And I'm really excited to see how it takes the sport and helps move it into the future. So,
Absolutely, yeah. And my kind of big thought on this season is like it's going to be really competitive this season. I don't think there's any super teams really. I don't think any team's going to win 105 games, for example, this year. And then I only see six.
have you not seen the Cardinals roster? They're going to win 115.
They're winning like 12 games max.
Oh, wow.
Uh, and I only see like six really teams that are out of it basically on day one. I mean, we say all the teams are 0-0 going into opening day, but I see like Detroit, Oakland, the Reds and the Pirates, the Nationals, and the Rockies. Those are the only teams that I do not see having any chance making the playoffs, which leaves us 24 teams vying for 12 playoff spots. Some of them have obviously higher chances than other teams, but it's going to be an exciting season, I think, and really looking forward to how it plays out
Yeah,
as always.
same. All right. What do you say we open up to some Q&A with the chat?
Yes, absolutely.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
So, chat, shoot us your questions. We'll try and get as many answered as we can. I do see one comment from CVAC here that it's not really a question, but it's something that I kind of want to mention. The games in spring training this year have been cut significantly shorter with the pitch clock and some of these other changes now. And we're kind of getting to the point where the length of a baseball game is about the same as a college basketball game, which I think is going to make a lot of people really happy. Because instead of spending 3.5, 4 hours just sitting there waiting for a pitch, and then 2 minutes later you'll see another pitch, you got pitch, 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 pitch. 2 hours later, game's in the ninth inning, and then, yeah. I think it's gonna be really good for baseball. All right, this is an interesting question, Gowie. So this one is about your personal opinions on MLB mascots. If you could pick any mascot to be introduced to the MLB, what would it be? This question is brought to you by our moderator, the Amazing Alley. The Amazing Alley 3. So
I'm going to let you take that question. You're the mascot guy.
The Cleveland Spiders. I want the Guardians gone. I want the Spiders to be back. I am still upset that they didn't go with that. I think the Guardians is kind of a dumb name. Like, all right, sorry about your luck. You should have chose something better.
I think we need to address these comments on Volpe ROI. What do you think about that?
I don't know. This is a good Rookie of the Year race over in the American League. I mean, you've got Gunnar, you've got Volpe, you've got probably some pitchers that I'm forgetting. Like,
you've got Masataka Yoshida, who probably is at the top of the list, right? He's technically a rookie.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, this is going to be a tough race. Volpe is incredibly talented and could very well take that. I would not be surprised. But I don't know who the favorite would be. I think it's Yoshida, but I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah. I'll just say on Volpe, like, hype is through the roof, obviously. Guy's been talked about for years as being, the next superstar Yankees player. He's barely played at AAA, and when he did play, he sort of struggled. That's not to say long term he's not going to be awesome, amazing, the next Derek Jeter or whatever. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he really struggles out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, we do kind of put a lot of pressure on these really, really young guys the moment that they crack into the majors. Like,
all of them.
I'm doing it with Jordan Walker right now. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But some of these guys, though, whenever they are able to take that hype and run with it and succeed like Julio did last year, those are special players. And those are players that are going to be special for a long time. I would not be surprised to see one or two of the guys that we're seeing this year come up and being in that situation, run with it and just never look back. Others are going to struggle. Some are going to be like Jared Kelenic. Others are going to be like Julio Rodriguez. And Kelenic, no one should count him out. The dude's only 23. Like, he could very well pop off this year. Like,
and actually, maybe we shouldn't say it like that, because that's making it seem like it's either like going to be really bad or really, really, really good. The more likely outcome is it's somewhere in the middle.
That's fair.
The Kelenic outcome, that was really unexpected that it went that bad for him, because he was exactly like a Volpe or a Julio. He was that hyped, and they were saying this is a can't miss prospect, and then he tanks so badly, basically 2 years straight. It's like that doesn't happen all the time. That doesn't usually happen.
Yeah. I guess maybe I should have made the comp maybe a little bit more to, like, say, a Dylan Carlson, where the hype with him was maybe not quite as high as it is with Jordan Walker right now, but it was really high for a Cardinals hitting prospect. Like, he was the first, like, big one in a while to be coming up, and he kind of stalled out as a hitter at the major leagues. Like, he's a solid hitter. He's still 250. He still hits, like, 10 bombs. But I think people were expecting him to come out and be this 5-tool player, and he just hasn't done it yet. But there's still time. And that's the thing. It's like we're hyping up these young guys so much at such a young age. Carlson came up at 20. He's only, 23 now? Same with Kelenic. Like, if Volpe has a rookie season that's closer to those two than it was to Julio, that's fine. I mean, it took Vladdy a full year or two in the big leagues before he truly broke out too. And that
was exactly the one prospect. I was going with. Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good question. I like that question. I do want to scroll up here just a minute to CVAC's question. So CVAC was asking if we have a vision of what the podcast will look like by episode 200, whether it's changes to the format, or anything like that. And also, he wished us a congratulations. Thank you very, very much, CVAC, for both the question and the congratulations. It means a lot to us that you actually sit here and hang out with us every week. It really means a lot that all you guys are willing to spend your time with us. So, but I don't know. Episode 200. I'm hoping that there's a little bit more professionalism around the stream setup here, because that's going to be about another 2 years. Because not only is this episode 100, this is the 2-year anniversary of our first episode today on the 28th. So 2 years from now, like, I'm kind of hoping that this thing is kind of big. It'd be really, really cool to be able to do this full time, or be able to do this at least part time, and like be able to put more effort into it, be able to go and travel to different stadiums to do some podcasts and get to meet with players or coaches or whatever. Like, I think that's my ultimate goal in the future, is for this to become its own self-sustaining thing. Because right now it's still just a hobby that we do in kind of in our spare time. And you've seen kind of our growth from episode 1 to episode 100. And I tried to listen to episode 1 the other day. Never going to do that again. It was a terrible decision. I judged it so hardcore, but it was nice to see how far we've come. But I want to basically double the growth that we've had from episode 1 to 100 between now and episode 200. But we're at a point now where that growth is going to be hard. Like, we got the easy stuff out of the way. Now we're to the hard part. So that's kind of where I see us at episode 200. I don't know if you got an answer for that.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a specific answer, just that, you know, a lot can change in 2 years. And we've seen that in the first 2 years. In our lives, we've seen a lot of changes personally, professionally. But this is something that we come back to every week, and that we've got, at least for me, I think for you too, it's like something we look forward to do every week. And that's what makes it fun. And that's what, just makes it enjoyable, and what we want to continue to have as we go into the future and towards episode 200, that we still maintain the fun and enjoyment that we've been getting out of it in episodes 1 through 100.
Yeah, I like that answer. Let's see what other questions we got in here. I thought I saw one. Yeah, so from Kasabi, he asked, what stadium would we want to visit for opening day, or for an opening day ceremony that does not involve your favorite team? And this is a question that I think you and I have talked about in the past. I don't remember if it was on a recording or if this was just a conversation that we had, because I had the opportunity to go to St. Louis last year for opening day, and that was phenomenal. I'm going again on Thursday this week. Like, it's one that I've watched it on TV every year, and the Cardinals go so hardcore with their opening days that it's really hard for me to come up with an answer for that. Because honestly, there's some teams that don't really do all that much for it. Like, everyone does something, but it's like the Cardinals bring out the Clydesdales. They bring out the parade of all the Hall of Famers. They bring out the fireworks, and they do the pregame ceremonies with, last year they did it with Waino, Yachty, and Albert, and this year they'll do it again with Waino, and they go big. But then, like, the Reds don't really do a whole lot.
So I don't know what the Cubs do, but I think it would just be cool to be there for opening day. I've never gone, but I realize that's not the question. It's other than our favorite team. So I don't know, maybe like seeing, I guess I don't know that many traditions from other teams, but it would be cool to see like the team that's just won the World Series, see their like ring ceremony or something like that, or just the fan reaction to the World Series winning team in opening day.
I want to see a Yankees opening day. I feel like they do it right. I don't know what they do, but I feel like that team pretty much has to do it right. They have everything at their disposal. Like they've got Monument Park and all the different guys who are still alive that are in it that they could bring out. They've got and just such a devoted fan base. Like there's a decent number of Fairweather fans, but that is such a big fan base that I feel like opening day would just be crazy. And I want to see it. What's your favorite stadium food, Gowie?
Something in San Diego. All the food there is really good. What we had like a chicken sandwich that was like
so
amazing.
We had a hot chicken that was amazing. The fish tacos that we had there at Petco Park were amazing. What were those nachos? Those were the best stadium nachos we'd ever had.
They had like pork or something on them.
Yeah, it was. Oh shoot!
It was like barbecue pork or something.
Yeah, but it wasn't just like pulled pork barbecue. It was like a specific cut of pork, and it was so good.
Yeah, I would say that's like top-notch stadium food. Anything in that ballpark.
Now, as far as a hot dog is concerned, I actually want to go back to Arizona.
The Diamondback dog, that thing was really good.
Yes, it was. So I think that'd be up there for sure for hot dogs. So let's see here. What other questions do we have? Do you have one episode in particular that sticks out in your mind from the first 100 episodes?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually looking back at all the 100 episodes before this, and there were quite a few of them that I recall like enjoying doing. I think some of the ones that we've done, like really focusing on one team, like the Rockies episode, stands out in my mind. The other one that I remembered was the solo episode that I did, and also the solo episode that you did. That was a real challenge, kind of something way out there, way different, and I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, that was tough. And I did my solo episode just looking at the Orioles. Like that was tough. I did really enjoy that challenge, though. I think for me, the Rockies one always stands out in my mind because of how much we talk about how much I despise the Rockies organization. But I don't know. We've had some really good episodes with some guests. Like, I know you weren't there for this one in particular, but you were on vacation, I think, and then Ashley joined me, and we talked about the women of baseball. And that was episode 73 back in August. And that was an awesome conversation that, in just that research and looking into like Tony Stone, Mamie Johnson, Kim Ng's early career, Kelsey Whitmore, and all these wonderful women in baseball that kind of opened my mind to all these stories that I didn't know existed. And I kind of want to do more episodes like that. Hopefully you're there for the next one, because I think it was a really cool episode and I'd love to do it again. But then having Ryan Ludus on, that was awesome too. And just getting to see the inner workings of the mindset of a major league prospect, and just everything he goes through on a day-to-day basis, getting ready to go down for spring training, and his meteoric rise through the Cardinals organization as a relief pitcher. So those are some of the ones that stand out to me. Let's see. Right. Another question from Kasabi here. What is the best ballpark promo you've gotten? You know what mine is.
Is it the San Diego Friar robes?
It is the San Diego Friar robes. I love those things. So we went to, what was that, 2019?
Yep.
Yeah, so we went out and around Easter in 2019 to San Diego, just me and Gowie, and we spent a week down there. We went to 2 or 3 games. 3, I
I
think.
think 3 games. Yeah.
And one of them, they were giving away friar robes that are. It's basically a snuggie, except it's
Got
got no
holes in the
arms or nothing.
arms. Yeah.
It's just like a blanket with a hole for your neck, and then you've got the rope to tie it. And I think I wore it on stream once when I was playing MLB The Show. It's so ridiculous looking, but I love it. So
We also got the Funko Pop of Eugenio Suarez
yeah, I
at
think I've got.
the Reds game in would have been 2018 or 19.
I thought I had one sitting right next to me. Where did it go? I'm gonna show it off, but I don't know. Yeah, yeah, that was a good one too. Some of those Funko Pops are pretty desirable too. I mean, I've got really good ones from St. Louis. Like I've got replica rings from like the 2013 NLCS championship, the 2011 World Series. Excuse me. Tons of different bobbleheads. I mean, you can see some of them behind me here. The Luis and Aloy dual bobblehead. That's a good one. I like that one a lot too. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's been too many other crazy ones that I've gotten though. Yeah, CVAC. I was actually talking with Gowie about that yesterday when I was talking about Bob Kendrick of the Nico League Museum. That's definitely not one that I'm just going to approach without doing any research first. So, but yeah, I think that would be awesome to have Bob come on. So we'll see what we could do here this year. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a trip out to Kansas City and meet Gotham for a long weekend. So, yeah. Let's see what else we got. Any other questions from the chat? If not, I could probably think of a couple questions for you, Gotham. So we've already kind of talked about episodes that stand out in your mind, but I guess let's make it a little bit more general. What is maybe the coolest thing that the podcast has kind of allowed you to be a part of? Or yeah, I'll leave it there, and if you see what you come up with based on that. What is the coolest thing this podcast has allowed you to be a part of?
I think just talking out these ideas that I have is what I enjoy like the most about it, because I have all these thoughts. I've had all these thoughts in the past too. It's now I just get to communicate them and bounce them off you and bounce them off listeners and stuff, and that's it helps me understand baseball even better. I feel like that's what's cool for me.
Yeah, I'd second that. Like and we've talked about this before, like the way that your brain works with baseball and the way that my brain work with baseball are simultaneously the same and entirely different. Cuz you're so knowledgeable about like the stats and like what they mean and what you can look at for some of it. And for me, I'm decent at that, not nearly to the extent that you are. But like for me, I forget how knowledgeable about the sport that I am, because sometimes talking to you, it's like, holy cow, this guy is so smart. What is he talking about? How do I become this? And then I start talking about it, and it's like, even though I'm not maybe the most statistically driven person, there's just an entire mindset around how you think about baseball that's entirely different. But like every opinion is valid.
Absolutely,
unless it's all based on.
It doesn't have to be like it does. None of this has to be driven by the statistics or anything. That's just personally how I see the game through that lens, and you see it through that lens also, but also differently. And that's what makes like our conversations very interesting. And I learned something from you. If we were both talking the same things, it wouldn't be as interesting, right?
Yeah. Because, like, for me, there's almost that lens of how is it perceived as opposed to, like, what the stats are necessarily telling you. Because, like, you hate the fact that the shift is being banned. I'm maybe not the biggest fan that the shift is being limited, but there's reasons why I see it happening and why I think that it could be good for the sport. And a lot of that is, like, we had this conversation yesterday off stream here, around the fact that there's such a big group of people who they enjoy the sport, but they don't understand it or they don't understand, like, the numbers as much. They like it for the action. They don't understand the numbers. We're really into the numbers, and we also love the action. And so whenever you start messing with the numbers to get more action, it kind of bothers us. Other people who don't really get into the numbers as much, that's what they want. They want to be able to enjoy a game and not have to understand statistics. Not have to understand what a WRC plus is, what FIP is, what an ERA is. They just want to see home runs, steals, singles, and just these incomplete games, complete game shutouts. Like, that's what people want to see. And so there's that entire lens that baseball is trying to basically pull at two different sides to build a game that's good for everyone. And I think that's the lens that I like to try and see the sport through.
Yeah. Okay. So, you brought up the shift. Now I have to dive into that one a little bit here. So, like, I'm just curious what other people think, because I have a very, like, firm opinion about it, and I don't know if I could be swayed from it. Like, I do see both sides of it, but I don't think that the shift restriction fixes the problem that baseball has. I think the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems in baseball, is the lack of contact, and just pitchers are too good these days, and batters haven't found a way to, like, counteract all the developments in pitching, improvements. These guys throw so hard, they have so much movement. Basically, getting singles is very, like, it's not a great strategy for winning baseball games anymore. And restricting the shift absolutely is going to bring back more singles. I totally understand that. I think most people understand that if there's not guys standing where most of the balls are hit, there's going to be more singles through the left side or the right side of the diamond. But what it doesn't change is batters are going to continue to sell out for power, because now there's no disincentive to not try for a home run, basically, because if they roll over to the right side, they have an actual chance of getting a hit instead of the ball getting eaten up like it has with the shift in play. So that's where I stand on it.
Yeah, for me, I kind of am seeing it more as an optics thing, and it's for those people that are maybe not diehard watch baseball every day fans. It's like, I'm going to watch a game a week, and they'll see you put 4 fielders on the right side of second base in the infield against Joey Gallo or something like that, or you've got this extreme shift that we don't see very often, admittedly. But you see that and you're like, well, that's weird. Like, why is that allowed? This is not what I thought baseball was. And so it is confusing to people that don't watch it every day. And it kind of maybe turns them off because they think, oh, there's too many rules. There's too many different things. And so you can do that. Because, like, in football, you always have 11 and 11, and you have to have so many people on the line. You have to have so many people in the backfield. Like, there's structure to that. People have to be in a certain spot. They could be in different locations as long as they're following those rules. And, like, yeah, basketball, you've got defensive 3 seconds in the lane. You've got, or you can't clog the paint. You've got all these different rules of, like, where you can and can't be. And people are fine with that because you have to try and win the game through the way that it's built. with the restrictions. It's not just saying this is anarchy, you could do whatever, go try and win a game. It's people want structure.
Is that what baseball's been? Anarchy for all these years when defenses could do what they chose to, and that's the edge, right? That teams have found, like the Dodgers. They've had the best BABIP allowed for like 10 straight years, or like it's ridiculous what basically they know where to position their guys for the best defense. And that edge is kind of gone for them. I mean, they'll find something else, but
yeah, and I think maybe that's the other part of it is like that edge is gone, but they're going to find another edge. Like, I think this is maybe a better way that we could look at this in a more positive light is removing this specific edge is going to kind of even out baseball as a whole temporarily until they find the next edge. So you're resetting the for the teams that don't have the best analytics as far as defensive shifts, and they might be able to perform at a similar level as teams like the Dodgers. And then there's going to be something else. There always is. So I think maybe this is just saying, hey, we've seen this one for long enough. Let's start innovating the game again. So you put a limit on it and say, let's see what we can do now. While also giving that structure that people want to see.
And I get your point about the optics. I just don't feel like rules should cater to like that. I feel like the gameplay needs to be the priority when you're making rules for a game, not how it looks.
Yeah, but I mean, it's essentially politics at that point. Like, you're going to do what brings people in. If you think that's going to bring people in, I completely understand trying it, especially with the sport like baseball that has admittedly seen a massive decrease in viewership over the last 25, 30 years. Like, young kids not really watching it and all that. I think they're trying to do what they can in order to just make things happen on more pitches so that people see it as a more action-packed game and don't find it as boring.
I guess that's still the part that I'm hung up on, that I still don't agree with. I don't think it adds more action. I think it just adds a few more singles.
I mean, a few more singles, but then you make it so that you can steal bases a little bit easier. Maybe we'll start seeing some action there. Like, I don't think you can look at any one rule in a vacuum. I think you have to look at it in a more realistic, or a more what do you call it?
Like a holistic view of
holistic.
Of all
that's the word. Yes.
Together. So basically, like, we have to do that because unfortunately we're not going to be able to ever parse out what each of the rules are doing because they're all being implemented at the same time.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe this combination rules all at the same time will give us an interesting product that we're going to be really happy with. But it does seem before it's implemented like it might be a bad idea or not going to do what they want.
Yeah, and I sound like I'm complaining about it a lot. I think there are some good things that could come out of it, like middle infield defense is going to become a priority. You know, you're not going to see Mike Moustakas playing second base anymore because
what? His $18 million contract for the Reds is not going to be at second base? No,
like I think they're going to say no more Brandon Lau playing second base because like we gotta cover the middle of the field here because we can't just shift every batter. So that'll be interesting. And also, it's not like the shift is gone. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
There's still going to be guys basically playing up the middle, running. There's still going to be shortstops making plays on the right side of the diamond and then vice versa with the second baseman because that's just, if they're going to be right on the edges of what is allowable by the new rules.
Yeah. So, let's see. We got any other questions here that okay, so CVAC had said that he agrees on they're going to be selling out for power, I think. Or well, actually, let me read the whole thing and then we'll figure out. So I can agree with that to an extent. Oh, it opens up the game more small ball. Hopefully, I can agree with that to an extent. The focus has been too much on getting launch angle And that's been taught down from the majors all the way down to high school. We need contact in the game. A lot of great hitters are being passed up because of exit velo and launch angle. So, yeah, I get that. I definitely think it's a 6 and 1, half dozen in the other, where it's like we still want to see power. People pay to see home runs. Like Albert Pujols hitting 703 home runs. That's a huge deal. So, like, obviously, we want people to still hit homers. We're not trying to get everybody to single around the bases like we would see in the dead ball era of the 1800s and early 1900s. But yeah, I think trying to find a balance of getting people on base so those homers are now 2-run, 3-run homers instead of solo shots every time. That'll be something that I'm excited to see. All right, Gautam, a question specifically for you. Do you play MLB The Show from CVAC?
I do not.
Why not?
Because I don't have a PlayStation or any other station.
I think we could make that. I think we could fix that. I may or may not know a guy with an old PS4, and MLB The Show may or may not be available on PS4.
Noted.
Actually, I've got some ideas for you. So yeah, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but I'm gonna get you my PlayStation 4 at some point. It's going to happen. Just be prepared for that. Because I think we could do some really cool MLB The Show streams just on like a random Saturday night or something.
Keep that in mind, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 1, how dare you? Number 2, why is Gamora? Number 3, do you hear DeGrom to the Rangers?
DeGrom to the Rangers? Oh my God! Now you're gonna tell me that freaking Justin Verlander's on the Mets, and I'm not gonna be able to handle it.
Gosh, hey, do you remember what my wish was for last season? At the beginning of the season, I think we did like things that we wished would happen or something. Do you remember what one of my wishes was? It had to do with a player being healthy all season.
Was it DeGrom being healthy all season?
It wasn't DeGrom.
It was
Byron Buxton.
Oh.
Which didn't happen.
Are you re-upping the wish?
That's still my wish, but I mean, my wish is for all the players to stay healthy, especially the superstar studs like Jacob DeGrom. Like, we get like even like 150, 130 innings. Like, he's the best pitcher in the league. He doesn't even need to pitch 185 innings to give you the value. It'll be fun. He's healthy right now. That's all that we've got.
Let me see if I can find. Oh, where's the rundown from last year? Season 1 rundown. There we go. I think that was season 1, wasn't it?
What?
Or is it season 2?
Probably season 2, right? Because I think it was like right before 2022.
Yeah, okay. So that was in. So here's the archive.
Probably March or April.
March. Service time manipulation.
It was right after the lockout. I know we had some crazy episodes after the lockout, and there was just a frenzy of free agent signings. We were trying to hit on as many of those as we could. I remember that being kind of fun.
Yeah, so it was beginning of April. So why am I running out of space here? Yeah, I was looking to see if I could find the rest of the wishes that we had in there. But I'm struggling to find the actual. I found a copy of it. I'm not finding the actual rundown.
It was episode 54 on I don't know.
Lessons learned for podcasting. Season rundown. I don't know why I can't find season 2. Oh well. I guess what is your other wish for this season? So obviously for everyone to be healthy.
Yeah, that goes without saying. Kind of. That's not really a wish. I wish for this season. I don't know. You have one?
So, yes, I am wishing for some kind of later than expected breakouts for a couple players. And some of the guys we've already talked about. I really want to see Jared Kelnick break out. I really want to see Dylan Carlson break out and be what everyone was expecting him to be, or at least a fraction of that. But I want to see these guys who were big prospects that they didn't live up to the hype. I want to see them get the respect that they deserve because they're still some of the best players in the world at the game of baseball. And it kind of sucks to see him get hated on so much, especially Kelnick. Is like Carlson's put together a decent little career in St. Louis, but he's not the guy that he was expected to be. Kelnick is getting hated on as a 23-year-old because he's just not done anything at the majors yet. Cody Bellinger, that's a great point, Sav. I want to see him kind of re-find himself, even though he's doing it in the Cubs pinstripes there.
He looks good. He looks really good this spring. I think it's a health thing. Health and confidence.
I think it's a confidence thing. I think that's kind of what we were saying here the last couple of months. And like, I really hope that he finds his confidence and can go off. And then I hope that he does not sign back with the Cubs.
If he goes off, he will not sign back with the Cubs.
Yeah. So I'm hoping he goes off this year and then doesn't sign back with the Cubs. I would love to see Yelly find just a semblance of his power again. Like all these guys who it seems like they're getting hated on now, even though they're still really valuable players. I want to see them show everybody that they're wrong. That's my wish.
Yeah. This one's like player specific. So Asturia Ruiz, I think people have a lot of questions about whether he can actually hit. He's actually a major league player, but we do know he's fast. He stole 86 bases last year in the minor leagues. I want to see this man run, and I also want to see Corbin Carroll run. I think he's like the fastest player in baseball, and he's not just speed. Like he's got all the tools you could dream on, and he's got to be like the favorite for Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah, I think he probably is the favorite. I think the Rookie of the Year races this year both really interesting because, like we already talked about the AL, but in the NL, you've got Jordan Walker, the number 4 prospect in all of baseball. Corbin Carroll, the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. You've got
Miguel Vargas.
Garrett Mitchell could be, if he does some stuff, he could be up in there around the top 5. You've got Bryce Terang coming up for the Brewers. You've got, see who else is coming up in the National League.
There's an outfielder for the Dodgers. I'm really interested in James Outman, who made the opening day roster. Like, and it could be someone we're not even talking about. Like last year, who was talking about Michael Harris as a Rookie of the Year candidate?
Yeah,
he came up and he just dominated the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then I mean, like you've got a couple guys over in the Nationals organization. Although I think the only one that would have been a rookie this year is now going down with Tommy John and Kate Cavalli. I think CJ Abrams' rookie eligibility is gone, as is Mackenzie Gore, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah. Spencer Steer for the Reds. He could be a guy to watch. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting guys that are coming up as rookies this year, but I think the favorites have pretty much got to be Walker and Carroll in the NL, at least at the start of the season. And then in the AL, I mean, Volpe, Gunnar, who's the other one we mentioned earlier?
Yoshida.
Kodai Senga. He's a rookie this year for the Mets. So who knows? Maybe we'll see Kodai Senga coming over from Japan and getting the Rookie of the Year as a pitcher. So, yeah.
You want to do some division picks, playoff picks, and World Series and stuff? Just real quick.
Yes, I do. I want to answer Sav's question real quick. Yes, we will see Grayson Rodriguez this year. I think he's going to be one of them that is still sort of service time manipulated a bit. And admittedly, he may still need some seasoning. I'm not sure. But I think there's enough guys that are probably going to be in the top 3 rookie of the year that they can hold him down until the end of April and then have Grayson come up and then maintain a year of service time. So I think he might be one of those guys that gets screwed over by the fact that you still can service time manipulate. It's just a little bit harder. So, but yeah, let's do some division picks.
Okay, I haven't really thought about these that much, but
I haven't either.
Just okay, let's just go one by one then here. So AL Central. I already bold predicted the Twins to win the division.
I bet against the Guardians last year and I regretted it. Do I do it again?
I picked them to finish like last year. Yeah. You were so wrong about that one.
Yeah. I think I got to go with the Guardians. I mean, I want to pick the White Sox, but I just don't know that I see enough there right now to say that they're the favorites.
And here's the thing about the White Sox, like they are very talented. They had a horrible season last year and they still finished 500. So a few more things go right and then they're right there. So I can see any of the 3 teams winning it, really.
Yeah, that's very fair. And like I said, like the White Sox could very easily win it. There's just enough questions that I feel like I can't really call them the favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them win it. So I think I am going with the Guardians because I regretted not last year. So
East, I think I'll go with the Yankees.
I'm going with the Jays.
Okay.
I think the Jays could do it.
West? I'm going with the Astros. You don't have to pick the Astros just because you.
I'm going with the Mariners.
Okay.
So.
And who comes? Do you want to pick wild cards or just who comes out of the AL?
Okay, so this is a good question and one I was thinking about a little earlier. So out of the AL, I think we're getting the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Guardians, the Astros, the Mariners.
You didn't say the Rays. You're thinking about them.
I'm thinking about them. I think I'm going with the Rays. So I think we're going to get a repeat out of the AL East.
Wait, so you didn't say the Angels, right?
I did not say the Angels.
Oh, okay.
Wow. DZ over here, Team Gotham all the way. He's the brains of this pod because you just picked the Yankees to win.
Yeah, I'm smart. Yankees haven't missed the playoffs in how many years?
I'm not picking them to miss the playoffs. I'm just picking them to get in as a wild card. But all right, who do you think's who all's in from the American League?
So I'll go Twins. Oh my God, I want to pick the Angels. Angels, Astros. There's too many good teams. Yankees and the Mariners, and I got one more team to pick.
Yeah, we're in 12-team playoffs now.
Blue Jays.
All right. Yeah, our entire chat right now is just Yankees fans, so they're very happy for you. 3 teams in the West? Question mark.
Yeah, it could happen.
I think it could. I think it's more likely that we'll get 3 from the East, but I was thinking about that earlier, that we could very well have 3 from the West. All right, National League. Let's start out East. Who do you think's take? Maybe we should finish with the East because that's going to be the tough one. You want to start or finish with the East?
We finish with it, whatever.
All right, West.
West, I got the Padres.
I also have the Padres. The Central.
Central, Cardinals.
Same. In the East.
East, I'm going with the Braves.
I'm going to go with the Phillies. I think it's a bit bold, but I'm going to go with the Phillies.
That is really bold, actually.
Yeah. The Mets losing Edwin Diaz, I know that that's probably not as big a deal as I think it is, but to me, that's kind of a big deal.
Hey, the Phillies are looking a little rough right now, losing Hoskins. They're going to miss Bryce a lot.
That's true. Although Bryce is already taking BP.
Yeah.
So
he needs to come back soon.
Yeah. Like, I think this is a team that can do it. I do think adding Trey to that lineup does help. Like, you're missing a lot of power out of Hoskins and Harper, but I think the five tools that Trey brings you, I think you'll be able to kind of spur a little bit of a different look for that offense this year that I think might be able to withstand that a little bit more than it could have last year. And if we see Bryson Stott break out like he started to kind of late last year, I don't really foresee it being as big of a problem as we think. So, yeah. So your playoff picks for the NL in general, who you got?
Okay, so I got the Cardinals, the Braves, and the Padres. I got the Dodgers, and I got I got to make one bold pick, right? Diamondbacks, and I don't know about that one. The Mets, and
That's 6.
Yep, that's 6. We'll go with that.
So obviously, I've got the Phillies, the Cardinals, and the Padres. I've got the Braves.
How can you leave the Mets out of it, right?
Well, yeah, so the only reason that I'm struggling with the Mets is again, it's not. It doesn't seem like it would be as big a deal, but losing Diaz is huge.
It's huge, but it's not going to affect the win total. I feel like I don't know. It's a one inning reliever.
Well,
it's like people are overstating like what it means to the team. I feel like he is amazing. He's the best closer in the game, but
yeah, you've also got Brandon Nimmo taking shots at Edwin Diaz for pitching in the WBC, and you've got some clubhouse things there that aren't exactly meshing. Like, did you see that from Nimmo? Yeah, so Nimmo was making a comment about how he's out here getting prepared for the season with his team, and all these other guys are just out playing exhibition games that are meaningless and getting hurt and all this. And then, and then he was asked about
getting hurt the exact same day that Diaz got hurt. Yeah, in a meaningless game as well.
Yeah, like, there's something going on in that locker room that I'm not a big fan of, because the fact that he said that and then was asked about Diaz and then kind of smirked at it when he was asked that question.
I'm not worried about the clubhouse. Buck's got it under control.
I don't think Buck does have it under control. I think the team is talented enough that Buck's going to get him to the postseason. So yeah, let's throw him in the postseason. But I do think it's going to be a bit more of a struggle than we'd expect, just because I think that there's some things going on there that we're not necessarily seeing yet.
I see plenty of issues with the Mets, to be honest. Nothing to do with Diaz, or the clubhouse stuff. Just their lineup still has some flaws to it, and they've got old starting pitchers, and it's not like a perfect team or anything. It's not a super team it's like the payroll might suggest it might be.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then what's the last team?
My last team. Technically, I've not picked the Dodgers to be in yet. Do I do the unthinkable and say the Dodgers are not making the postseason?
You're just going to make yourself look bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Dodgers are in. So the Dodgers, Padres, the Cardinals, and then we got a 3-headed monster in the NL East. So yeah, basically that's the exact same as last year.
So yeah, you didn't branch out at all with that.
No, I didn't.
Predictions. I threw one in there with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, but you left the Phillies out, and I don't think they're missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
and then you got a World Series pick for me?
Oh shoot, you just.
I got one. I'll go first.
All right.
The Padres are going to win the World Series this year. This is the year, and they're going to beat the Angels. How about that for a World Series matchup? That'd be so fun.
Okay, what are you smoking, and can I have some?
It's the postseason. If you're in, you can make it to the World Series.
I don't know. I was going to make a bold prediction earlier where I had the Angels in the ALCS. I was not going to go far enough to say the World Series. No, I do like the Padres for the NL. I think in the AL, I think we're going to see the Blue Jays this year. I think it's going to be the Blue Jays versus the Padres. So, and the winner of that, ooh, I don't know, that's a tough one. I'm going to tick off somebody no matter what I say here. And I know exactly the people I'll tick off by saying it. I think the Padres pitching is better. I think it's going to perform in the postseason. I think Snell is going to go off this year, and I think the Padres take it.
All right. So we're in agreement on something.
Yeah.
All right.
So Ashley's calling for a Snell Cy Young season.
That would be sweet. I would absolutely love that.
I could see it. So, all right. What do we got? Anything left? Or I know we're a little bit long today, but we've been having some fun. I've been enjoying this. So, thank you all very, very much for hanging out with us tonight. Like I said, it means so, so much to us that you come and listen every week. Here's to another 100 episodes. So, if you guys got anything that you want to see in the next 100 episodes, make sure to let us know on social media. Make sure to join our Discord. We can keep the conversation rolling in there. If you like the Q&A style episodes, I've been enjoying this a lot. We can bring it back as a semi-regular thing here. So I wouldn't be upset with that. I think I might start playing MLB The Show on stream again after opening day. But I think I do have to ask one more question of you, Gautam, before I let you take us on out of here. What is going to be the outcome of the Cubs game versus... Are you guys in San Diego to open?
No, they're at home against the Brewers.
Okay. Well, first of all, is the first game actually going to happen, or is it going to be rained out?
I think weather's looking okay.
Okay. What is the outcome of opening day?
Oh, the Cubs lose to the Brewers easily.
All right. Love to see it.
Yeah.
And then that starting pitching matchup is Stroh versus Burns?
Yes.
Yeah, the Brewers are going to destroy. Why am I playing with the chip clip? Have we figured that out? I think I've been playing with this the whole time. Cardinals, Miles Michaelis versus Alek Manoah of the Toronto Blue Jays. It's going to be a really good game. I do think I'm probably taking the Blue Jays to win it, though.
Yeah, and if your team loses the first game, you say, it's a long season. One loss doesn't matter. If your team wins the first game, you say, well, we're going to win every single game.
162-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, if you were a Pirates fan and you lose opening day, 162. Is that too mean? We don't have any friends that are Pirates fans, do we?
I don't think so.
All right. It's going to be awkward if I get a text later and it's like, dude, why? Why are you taking shots? So, all right, cool. Okay. I think that's all I got. You want to take us on out?
Yes. So thank you so much for listening to episode 100. Enjoy opening day, and we'll talk to you next.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app or YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.